I just found out that Hips Don't Lie hit 1 billion views on YouTube. This is incredible. Thank you all so much.
Colombian superstar Shakira's rise to fame is awe-inspiring, yet she is no stranger to a fear of her own scandals and controversies. The singer has spent much of her recent life out of the spotlight, and that may be for good reason. One of the many women involved in the industry accused of being too attractive and flaunting her sexuality, Shakira was constantly belittled for expressing herself physically. That trend continued into Shakira's infamous 2020 Super Bowl HalfTime show with Jennifer Lopez. It was a performance that launched over 1,300 complaints and was deemed too inappropriate for children to watch. And it was also the same year that the Colin Kapernick protests were in full swing, with many activists questioning why Shakira would perform for the event at all. Today we're covering singer Shakira. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you'd like to see us cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now? And please don't forget to like this video for more content just like it. Shakira was born in the capital city of Colombia to a Lebanese father and a Colombian mother. A very smart girl, it's reported that Shakira has an IQ of 140, and that is certainly reflected in her amazing grades. She wasn't initially interested in songwriting. In fact, it only came about when she watched her dad write poems on a typewriter. After begging him for one for herself, she also began writing poems as early as 7 years old. She would write poems about her father while he was mourning the death of Shakira's half-sibling who passed in a motorcycle accident. Eventually, over time, these poems turned into song lyrics. Shakira also started to gain interest in performing when she first heard someone playing a traditional Middle Eastern drum and a performer belly dance to the drum beat. Eventually, Shakira had taught herself how to dance and started to gain local recognition as a top-notch dancer and singer. She was invited to events to perform, and at one of the events, she met a local theater producer who was so impressed with her performance that she got into contact with Sony Columbia executives to arrange for an audition. She performed 3 songs for the executives in the lobby of a hotel and must have impressed them because she signed with the record label to record 3 albums when she was only 13 years old. When she recorded for Sony Columbia, her first 2 albums were commercial failures. They were going to release her from her contract to produce a 3rd one, and in fact she even periodically went on hiatus to finish high school. She did a one-off single for a compilation album, and that song was an instant hit in Colombia. Due to its success, Sony decided to give Shakira another chance and financed her 3rd album. This 3rd album did much better, and she even reached number 5 in the Billboard Top Latin Album chart. She did even better on her 4th album and secured a spot performing a single for her album on MTV Unplugged, where she started to gain traction with English-speaking audiences. Her next album, as a result of the newfound American traction, was going to be in English. She had to learn English first though, and because of that, it took almost a year for the album to be released. On this album is the song Whenever Whenever, which achieved international success and reached number 1 in most countries. Imagine that, most countries in the world had this song as their number 1 hit. By 2008, she was the 4th top-earning female artist in the music industry as a whole. In 2006, a 6-ton, 5-meter tall statue of the singer was erected in her hometown in Colombia in honor of the singer, who is credited for bringing Latin-influenced music to the main stage. She is also one of the highest-paid female artists on Spotify, according to their general statistics. She's also been credited with injecting Middle Eastern influence into her music style, which allows her to transcend the borders created in pop culture. She's considered one of the greatest artists to cross cultural boundaries, and after her being chosen to perform the track Waka Waka, which was used during the FIFA 2010 World Cup, which was largely influenced by the traditional Cameroonian singers of the time. So now she has been directly influenced not only by her native Latin musical styles, but also by American, with her decision to sing in English, Middle Eastern, especially with the belly dancing, and African influences, which all blend seamlessly to create a one-of-a-kind performance that just seems to work for Shakira. By 2018, she was the 10th highest paid woman in music, and in 2020 it was announced that she would perform at the Super Bowl HalfTime show with Jennifer Lopez. The show itself went off without a hit. The choreography and stage effects were on point. In fact, the viewership was at 103 million people, and their performance was nominated for 5 Primetime Emmys, winning 1 of them. But it wasn't really the performance itself that caused the scandal. Well, I guess it kinda was, but it's a boring scandal that no one should care about. In a game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, the FCC received 1,312 complaints from viewers against J-Lo and Shakira's halftime performance. During the event, the singers twerked, belly danced, and danced on poles. A bunch of the complaints against the performance were due to the overtly sexual nature of the event itself, which I think would be a valid complaint if it weren't that for literally every year, promiscuity in the halftime show has become pretty normal. Also, belly dancing is literally Shakira's thing. You think she's not gonna belly dance? Give me a break. Where was this heat when Justin Timberlake was performing? It's not like the halftime show is going to cater towards children only, otherwise the Teletubbies would be performing at the next event. There was also a bunch of complaints because Shakira, quote, wagged her tongue sexually. I'm not kidding, that was an actual complaint. Honestly though, I think the real controversy came from the year that Shakira and J-Lo performed for the halftime show. No matter who it was going to be, the whole thing was going to be shrouded in controversy. Before Lopez and Shakira were even set to take the stage, the event organizers had approached Cardi B and Rihanna about performing. They both turned down the opportunity, citing solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. Now, if you don't know about the Colin Kaepernick scandal, basically the footballer kneeled during the singing of the national anthem in protest of the mistreatment of black people in America and in the support of Black Lives Matter. After he did that, the NFL banned kneeling as a form of protest and effectively blacklisted Kaepernick from the league. He has not played in the NFL since. And in 2020, the year Shakira performed, the NFL finally apologized 4 years after it happened, but the damage had already been done, and it was entirely too little, too late. When Rihanna was asked why she backed down, she stated, quote, I couldn't dare do that. For what? Who gains from that? Not my people. I just couldn't be a sellout. I couldn't be an enabler. There's things within the NFL that I do not agree with at all, and I was not about to go and be of service to them in any way. But Shakira stood her ground amid criticism from advocates. She called the performance, quote, the highlight of my career, and felt proud to headline with another Latina, the first time in Super Bowl history that two Latinas had headlined. How Shakira sees it, she wanted to promote the importance of Latin communities in the cultural backbone of American culture. Quote, I really thought it was a great opportunity to make a strong statement about what an important part of the American fabric the Latino community is. And thus the halftime show went ahead as planned, despite outcry from groups who felt that these two women weren't properly supporting the black community and Afro-Latino community in the support for equal treatment. Despite being considered hypersexual, the performance was generally received positively by news organizations. Even if it wasn't entirely the most memorable one, it did enough to keep the high-octane energy amongst the crowd. Their performance is the most watched halftime show on YouTube, and it's the most popular female-run performance in the event's history. Even with the controversy of it being overly promiscuous and amid the Black Lives Matter movement protests, the performance did well and it had a relatively positive reception. So what do you think of Shakira's legacy? Let us know in the comments down below, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can stay updated on when we post next. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Where Are They Now? I've been your host Sierra. I'll see you next time.